Should you sell your first home when you move up to the next one, or keep it as a rental? Because for a lot of homeowners, that one decision can have a big impact on long-term wealth. Let's break it down. A lot of people automatically assume that when they buy their next home, they need to sell the first one. And sometimes that is the right move, but not always. In some cases, keeping that first property as a rental can be a really smart long-term strategy. Why? Because instead of giving up the asset, you keep ownership of a property that may continue to appreciate over time, while a tenant helps pay down the mortgage. That is where people can start building real wealth through real estate. Now, that does not mean every property should be kept. The real question is, does the property still make sense as a rental? Here's a very simple way to think about it. Let's say your total monthly payment on that first home is $3,200. And let's say realistic market rent is $3,800. That gives you about $600 a month of positive cash flow before you factor in maintenance, vacancy, property management, and other costs. So maybe your true monthly cushion is more like $100 to $250. That may not sound huge, but if the property is also being paid down every month by the tenant and it continues to grow in value over time, the long-term upside can be meaningful. That is why I usually tell people not to look at this as just a monthly cash flow question. You also want to look at how much equity are you keeping? How strong are your reserves after the next purchase? And how does keeping that home affect your ability to qualify for the next one? Because this is where strategy matters. Sometimes keeping the first home works beautifully. Other times, selling it frees up cash, simplifies your life, and puts you in a stronger position for the next move. And then there is the management side of things. A lot of people like the idea of owning a rental, but they are worried about being a landlord. If you keep the property, go in with a plan. Know what market rent really is, build in a maintenance budget, keep cash reserves, and decide up front whether you are going to self-manage or hire a property manager. If you want it to feel passive, good management matters. So the simple answer is this. Do not default to sell just because that feels easier. And do not default to keep it just because owning rentals sounds good. Run the numbers. Look at the payment, the rent, the reserves, and the long-term plan. Because for the right homeowner, keeping that first home can turn one property into the beginning of a portfolio. If you want to talk through a keep versus sell scenario, reach out. I'll help you run the numbers based on your situation so you can choose confidently. I'm here to help.